Hi, it's Jackie here from the LGFA, and straight away I know by the smiley faces I have here, we're going to have a lot of fun with this one. We're going to finish off the week on a high. We've had some really good content this week, looking back on club activity from last weekend and looking forward to club activity coming up this weekend. We also had Kiva Morgan from Armagh and Michelle Ryan from Waterford reflecting on their inter-county careers, and of course still going strong at club level with Lissa Munn and Ballymacarbery respectively. But to today's guests, and it is National Volunteer Week, hashtag NVW 2020, and who better to talk about volunteerism and what it means to them than three winners from our 2019 LGFA Volunteer of the Year award. So top left hand side of my screen is Ciara Lane, who was our international volunteer, a native of Louth, but she's in Calgary in Canada and joining us all the way from there. Very early in the morning, I would say there, Ciara, so thank you for coming on board. Ciara Marley, I'd say, is fresh or otherwise from a hectic week at work in school. St. Catherine's Armagh, of course, where she's making a phenomenal impact in the coaching capacity there. And the great John McDermott from County na Galway, who was our PRO of the year in the Volunteer Awards, and Ciara Marley was our school's Coach of the Year. Ciara Lane, how the hell are you? Good to have you on board. How are things?
Not so bad, Jackie. Not so bad at all.
Good to have you on. Ciara Marley, how are you? All good?
Tired, yeah, great.
Yeah, I'd imagine so. And Johnny Mac, need I ask any more? Always in good form. The thumbs up straight away. Mighty, good stuff, good stuff. We'll get straight to it. Ciara Lane, International Volunteer of the Year 2019. Ciara, take us back to, it feels like a lifetime ago, in this COVID-ridden world that we're living in. Pre-COVID, you were lucky enough and fortunate enough to come across, and we were delighted to have you to join us in Croke Park for the ceremony. Great memories.
Oh, incredible. And I think I think back to it thinking, I was so lucky to actually be able to go, because I think things started to shut down COVID wise right after. But yeah, I mean, like even seeing like the some of the pictures pop up and stuff from this week was just incredible, because I think you don't do it for that kind of recognition at all. It's mortifying in a way, but I think like for the fact that you get to go and be in a room with like the likes of Ciara and John and stuff like that, like people that are just kind of giving up their whole lives almost to be like promoting the development of the Gaelic Games was phenomenal. But yeah, like to be in Croke Park and have a table with my family and former teammates and stuff, and have old Marty giving the crack on the stage and all that, it was just brilliant. Absolutely phenomenal memories from that.
Great stuff. And Ciara, you were in a similar boat. You were one of our winners as well, Schools Coach of the Year. And we did a piece on you in Pell magazine as well. And I'll actually link that underneath the post, the Facebook post in particular, so people can have a look back at that piece. So that was an obvious highlight for you, Ciara, this year, that night in Croke Park. What do you remember of it?
Oh yeah, it was an amazing night. It was kind of surreal, because I remember getting the letter to say that I had received an award. Didn't say what it was. And I remember phoning my husband saying, I think I might have won something, but I'm not really sure. So I never told anybody else. And I arrived down, and then it sort of dawned on us when we got into Croke Park that I had actually won the award. And it was such an amazing way to finish the year for me and sort of our All Ireland campaign. I thought everything was done and dusted, about 6 months beforehand, but it was lovely for the two of us to go and celebrate it together and sit back and reflect on what had happened sort of a year beforehand. So no, it was an amazing achievement and a brilliant night to celebrate with everybody.
Brilliant. How's family life, Ciara?
It's great. Yeah, Paddy Oak's running the family at the minute, and we have another one on the way. So
very good. Congrats. When are you due?
February.
Excellent. I wish you well. We have three here now keeping us busy, so it's all go. And John Mac down in Galway, family man, legend, and showstopper on the night at the Volunteer Awards. How's life with you, John?
Very good, very good. Bit frightening at the beginning, but very good, As you said, she's looking forward to her second kid, wife, four of them. And my little lad, he won county final there the other day, last Tuesday.
Congrats.
Magnificent. And Ciara is the captain of a county final on Sunday. They were playing St. Brendan's Grania Wales, the girl. So my girl in Ciara, she's to be the captain on that team. And she doesn't know if she wins it, I'll be doing the presentation. So I'm really looking forward to that day,
Good stuff. You're busy, John.
Yeah, and I won a county final myself.
You did?
I went back training under 12s, and God, we won. Well, I said county final, I mean the county west final, but it's a county final to us anyway. So we were having a ball at it, and
When you're hoovering up titles left, right, and centre, John.
we are, big God, we are. But as you were saying about the night in Crow Park, like, sure, it was out of this world, you know. As you know yourself, sure, it actually was 3 days. We were in Dublin for 3 days, you know.
You made a few days out of it, yeah.
We sure did. But what really got to me was my two aunts. When I say they're aunts, they're like they're cousins, but they're really aunts. You know what I mean? It's hard to explain. My great granduncles went to Dublin, and you know they were the same age as my father. But to have them there is unbelievable because they are two unbelievable Dublin supporters. You know.
Okay.
But their daughter was there as well, which I never mentioned tonight, and she's actually married to an Irish ambassador, you know. So we kept that kind of quiet in case we didn't want to go out too much. But she was, and her daughter, she was thrilled altogether to be in Crow Park.
You're living in high society, so John.
I am. So if you want to go to, I think they were in Mexico. I think they're in Thailand or somewhere at the moment. So if we want to go, we'll head over.
Post-COVID, we'll book the flights, John. Absolutely. Ciara Lane, Calgary. Tell us about the genesis of that move, Ciara, and how it came about for you.
So yeah, I mean, I guess I had made the move to Canada after doing like just a summer travel across the country, and I actually had an uncle who would have been a great hurler himself, Michael Brophy, and
Nice.
he actually lived in Winnipeg, so he'd emigrated out there, and him and his family were there. So I kind of thought, geez, you know, this is a great old spot, and he had kind of, you know, made strides into trying to get a Winnipeg GAA thing going as well back in the day. But anyway, I ended up in Winnipeg for a few years and did my master's at University of Manitoba and worked a few like amazing jobs there. But I came out to Calgary then for a weekend just to visit some friends. And I think when you've got the Rocky Mountains on your doorstep there, and they had, you know, a very active GAA club and big Irish community and stuff like that. So I think once I was out here, then I was fairly sold on it. So it wasn't too long then before I made the move, and I think I landed here on the Saturday and went to training with the Chieftains on the Wednesday, and then sure, since then, like you're hooked, like, you know, they don't let you go easy, like they're great. So
the rest is history, as they say. Yeah, absolutely. The Brophy's down in Laura. Yeah, I was. Oh my God, Shane is getting married to Grace.
That's right. Yeah. October 15th was their big day, I think. Yeah.
I was on the invite. I was on the invite list, but unfortunately, they've had to cut it down due to COVID. Yeah. So, are your mum and dad heading along, or what's the?
Yeah, so they're still. So my dad he's a retired guard, so he was stationed in Dundalk for his whole life. So we were all kind of brought up around that area and in Dundalk, and but you know, we were up and down to Tip and to Rackabin and Lura and the whole parish our whole lives. So we always had a great affinity for Lura and going to matches and stuff there. So yeah, but the Brophies are definitely that's on my mom's side. Like they'd be big GAA heads, and yeah, Michael Brophy actually, the younger one, Shane's younger brother. He was out in Calgary too. He played with the Chieftains, and he also did a stint out in Montreal and played with the Montreal Gales, I think it is. Montreal, whatever their team is called. But yeah. So we're taking over slowly but surely.
A small world, isn't it, Ciara? It really, really is. You can't go anywhere in this business without knowing somebody along the way. So, Ciara, you're busy. It's a very obvious thing to say. I mean, what has it been like being back in school and I hate the term, but the new normal that we're living in? How have you? And we've had so many school teachers on over the last while. You've probably seen some of the videos talking about the challenges that it poses. How have you found being back?
Okay, it's tough. I suppose it's something that we've just realised we have to get used to for now. In terms of PE, we're glad that we're one of the few schools that are probably able to provide PE still, not in the same format as we would have in previous years, obviously because of the sharing of equipment, and we don't have big enough facilities for our kids to share. So we've had to sort of change our PE programme just to get them out basically and be active. So we're doing a lot of walking and hoping to start maybe a couch to 5K and things like that. But okay, it's difficult. It's very difficult probably for us PE teachers to try and adapt to. For the kids, they're just happy to get outside. But our school's brilliant in that our principal realises that there's a need for them to be physically active, you know, for their mental health as well, especially after, you know, lockdown, you know, after 6 months. school itself is different. It's a different sort of way to get used to one-way systems and things like that. But actually the kids are very resilient, and the kids are adapting to it quite well. In terms of after school activities, we are now, hopefully at the start of October, able to provide something. But again, you know, we're not going to be able to do the Gaelic football and camogie and sports like that as we would have, because, you know, the season's cancelled. So it's such a pity in one respect, but like, we're just grateful that at the minute we have everybody, they're healthy, you know, the staff are healthy, and we're able to do something with them at the minute.
Because the journey that St. Catherine's have been on in recent times, Ciara, is one of the real success stories of schools football, in terms of going all the way to All-Ireland prominence. Can you track the genesis of that, of how that all began, and your involvement in it?
Yeah, so back in 2017, I had been coaching mostly the camogie teams in the school, even though I was a dual player myself. It's sort of just the way that I sort of followed. And I had been successful with those teams. We had won a couple of Ulster titles, and then some of the girls approached me back in 2017 and said, look, miss, will you give football a go this year, you know, get a bit of structure and see what we can do? So I said, yeah, no problem. They were so keen, I couldn't not do it. Girls can be very persuasive. So that sort of academic year of 2017, 2018, I took them into a classroom, and I basically have always said this, I promised them the world. I told them that I was going to win Ulster titles with them. Sure, did I know what I was going to win? Hadn't a clue what I was going to do with them. I think there was maybe 50 turned up that day, and I was just glad to be able to promise them something and get them out playing football. Little did I realise that the talent that I had in front of me was unbelievable, and just by providing a bit of structure and committing to them and getting them to commit to me, the January of 2018 we had an under 16B and a senior B title under our belt. So that was unbelievable, and then all of a sudden I had instilled this confidence and self-belief and hunger for winning into this team. And then September of 2018, back to school again, of course, all guns blazing, ready to take on the world. But I myself deep down thought, we're competing at A level, watching the Lorettos, Cavan, you know, you just think, are we that good? I don't know. We hadn't competed at that level, so I had no idea. I knew that the girls were so coachable and they were willing to work hard, but you just still don't know whether you're at that level or not. So I was back and I was expecting Paddy Og at this stage, and I just didn't know what way things were going to go. So we took them out, trained them 2 days a week. I managed to get my husband Paddy on board, because I wasn't sure whether I was going to be fit to take them the whole way or not. So grabbed him. He just got enthralled in it, committed to the girls. The girls loved him and had so much respect for him, and he brought sort of fresh approach to the whole thing as well. So it was definitely a bit of a family affair. And then just about 3 weeks before Christmas, we played Loretto Cavan in the Ulster semi-final. And of course, everybody had written us off. We were the underdogs, and we were never going to beat the reigning All-Ireland champions. And we did. We went out and we did it. And there was a realisation. There was actually an eerie silence on the bus on the way home that day, even though we had just got ourselves into an Ulster A final. There was an eerie silence because it was like shock that we had actually got beaten the reigning All-Ireland champions and found ourselves in another Ulster final. So there was a great buzz about the school, and, you know, getting to an A final was just unbelievable. And we played then St. Kieran's Ballagolly in the Ulster final, they were the only team to beat us in the group stages. So again, you're thinking, oh, here we go. We've already been beaten by this team. Can we actually go the whole way when we get to the Ulster final? And we had a fantastic win that day. Found ourselves in an All-Ireland semi-final. And there was a 3-month break between us winning Ulster and getting into the semi-final. And at this stage, I was off on maternity leave. So it was, is she going to keep us on, or is she going to go way off and have her baby and forget about us, or what's the crack here? But no, there wasn't a chance I was going to give them up. I didn't even need to be persuaded to stay on. And in fact, I suppose at times I found it a wee bit easier because I was at home and I was able to plan my sessions, actually have time to think about it. And by the time 3:30 came and they had their day done at school, I was ready to meet them at the pitch. And then Paddy came along as well. So then we had Paddy Og on the 13th of February, and we gave them a week off.
So when were you back on the coaching field after having Paddy Og?
We gave them a week off because we had such a break. So I had Paddy Ogan the 13th. We took a week off and we were back a week later. I was on the pitch and I had the poor child with me on the pitch. A week old.
That's dedication.
Absolutely. Absolute dedication.
It was horrendous weather at times, you know, and I remember the girls saying to me, Miss, you need to take him somewhere. And I was like, no, he's fine, don't worry. I pushed him around the pitch if he was crying. Paddy trained. Paddy would take over and push him around the pitch and I would train the girls. And it just worked and we just made it work. And it was part of the whole story and the girls loved it. The girls love him. They still talk about him and it became a real massive family affair. And then we won the All-Ireland semi-final in early March, managed to get a christening in between times and then went and played an All-Ireland final and won it that day. But such a whirlwind. I talk about it like I can barely remember anything that happened in that period of 3 months between having the child and playing in an All-Ireland series. It was just unbelievable. Like, we were taking the child along to recovery sessions at night time and people were saying to us, you're not wise doing this with the child, but sure, he's still alive. And that's his life now, there's not a night where he's not out on the training field or out at a match, and that's the way it's going to be. Terrific.
John, beat that.
Jenny Mac.
Well, you were a busy man last year, John, because Galway obviously got all the way to an All-Ireland final and there was great hype and excitement around that. Look, Galway didn't win the final in the end, but to be part of that experience at Croke Park last year, John, 56,114 people through the turnstiles, I know that it was still a very, very big day for you and one you thoroughly enjoyed, despite the result.
Yeah, but as the fella says, as the saying goes, I wasn't left behind, you know. There was one horrendous rain and it was great support and all, you know, but it was a mighty pity that we didn't win it, you know. I think it would do, if we did win, it would have done ladies football in our situation extremely good, you know. People say we should have won it. In all honesty, really should have won that All Ireland, you know.
But there is a good crop coming through, John. I've seen someone who's
it's unreal at the moment. Yeah. It's unreal at the moment, you know. Now this year, the county board have decided that to go at all clubs, and they're doing this new thing, as you call it, the score and the welcome. My goodness, but it's hard work. I can't believe how much work that there is in it this year compared to last year or the year before with the clubs. But the clubs this year in Galway, it's unbelievable. We have to have a junior C club in our own at Galway Wales. We have 29 senior players this year registered. You know, we have 28 under 12s registered. And it's unbelievable. But the only problem I find is done the 16s to keep them the 16s there. But I've never seen so many people out playing or ladies playing football at this year. I've never seen it. And the interest is good. And the games are unbelievable. Because we're playing and everything, you know. They have decided to do another it's kind of a west border for more games, you know, in Galway, which is unbelievable at the moment, you know. Sorry about this.
There's a duck in the room.
Please, yeah.
We'll let you take that one there, John, for a second.
No, I'm trying to turn it off and I don't know.
Ciara Lane, we'll distinguish between Ciara Marley and Ciara Lane. Ciara, I've never heard a duck on an interview before, but it's the first time for everything, I guess.
I might not be able to talk. That's amazing.
Will I go down to Ciara Marley for a second? So, no, we'll see whose laughter subsides first. Ciara Lane, we'll try you again. Ciara, are you aware when you're in Calgary and so far away? But I guess with social media and live streaming of games and that, are you able to keep in touch pretty good with the scene over here and what's happening?
Oh, definitely, yeah. And I think certainly when you see the push that's been made in the last few years, to have the streaming of the games online and stuff like that. And then I've been really keeping a close eye on the 20 by 20 movement as well over the last couple of years too. I think when you see that, the promotion of the games online, it is incredible, especially compared to other female governing bodies or women's governing bodies of sports that I follow on social media too. you'd be hard pressed to find another like social media stream that's promoting games and giving you opportunities to like watch them live, whether it's through Facebook streaming or whatever. So yeah, it's definitely been made very easy and very accessible, like to watch even from abroad, which is incredible. So I think as long as you're willing to get up early to watch the matches, that's the big thing.
Yeah, what's the time difference there? Is the time difference there? You're talking? Are we 7 hours?
7 hours ahead. Yeah, you guys are 7 hours ahead of us. Yeah.
Okay, so if for argument's sake there's a game at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, you're up to watch it at 7.
Dirty o'clock, yeah, gross. Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
okay.
Absolutely horrendous.
The witching hour, as we call
That's
it.
right. But you're listening, like you do what you have to do if needs be. But yeah, I mean, I think like as John was saying, like when you look at the participation levels and stuff, like I've never watched as much like with ladies Gaelic football as I have in the last few years. The last 2 years as well. So yeah, it's phenomenal.
Good. Ciara, just in terms of it is National Volunteer Week. It's finishing on Sunday the 27th. Hashtag NVW 2020 if you want to get involved in the conversation. The volunteer ethos and your role as a volunteer and what you do there, Ciara, how important is that in your life? Was
that still to me, Jackie?
Yes, Ciara Lane.
Yes, yeah. I mean, I think like for us, like when you're abroad, like the GAA club, it takes on a different meaning almost, like because you've got people from all walks of life, like from all over the country and from other parts of the world as well, Australia, Canada, England, like you name it. And I think like when you're abroad, you're searching for that piece of home almost, like you're kind of wanting to make or keep those connections to home. And so the GAA club becomes like the central part of that. And that's the case, people join not just to play the sport, or some of them have never even heard of the sport before they come along to a session. So like it becomes that community piece of like, they're your friends, they're the people that, help you move house, they're the people that, are the links for jobs and advice on, if you decide you want to stay and pursue kind of like a permanent residency route, like all of that is kind of housed in-house in the GAA club. So I think it's become so central to my life over the last 5.5 years that I've been here. And I think like even though you see people come and go from the club, because that's the nature of it here, is that people come and they're new to the city and it's their avenue into settling and a social circle for them. It's amazing seeing people or guiding people through that process too, right? Seeing them settle and seeing them then help others kind of do the same thing. So I think like when you look at the volunteer aspect of it, like everybody gets involved because you had that experience of arriving as a newbie and knowing nobody and not knowing how the city worked or anything like that. And so you're so willing to pay that back to help others as well, like they're in that same boat. And I think like when you tie in the sport piece of it, when you tie in the going traveling for tournaments and getting to meet people that are playing in Vancouver or Edmonton or anywhere across Canada, and not to mention you go down to the likes of the San Diego Sevens in the States or to Seattle or whatever, and then sure, the crack is absolutely through the roof, like for those type of tournaments. So John, Jesus, you'd love that there. We'd have to get you out for a tournament. You'd go buck mad, you and the duck. It'd be great.
Don't forget the duck. Yeah, bring the duck.
Don't forget the duck.
But Ciara Marley, back to you on that note. Brilliant stuff. Ciara, where do you find the time to do everything?
Well, I don't really know. It's one of those things. Make the time, I suppose I made the time to play, so I can make the time to coach. Look, there's loads of people doing it. I always, people say, how do you do it with a child? There's loads of people out there playing who have, 3 children, 4 children, loads of people out there coaching, and they just take their children to the pitch, and that's how it works. So, it's quite easy to find the time, especially with school. I find it that wee bit easier because, you went straight from school and you coached straight after it, and you were finishing up at 5 o'clock. Now, people always thought that I was a wee bit nuts in that I always took it a wee step further, and I would have them, I'd be coaching them 2 or 3 times a week. I'd take them on Saturday morning and everything. But like, you do whatever you have to do. If you want to give the girls the best experience and you want them to enjoy it and you want them to win something, achieve something, then you put the time, you find the time for them. I always made it very clear to them, I always had if you don't train, you don't get to play with me. And they knew that.
I remember you telling me that for the piece, yeah.
Yeah, and it really worked, and it became really a real dogfight for places on the team then, and sometimes you only had to, maybe not start one person because they hadn't been at training, and then suddenly that ethos filtered through the team and it was like, oh, she means business here. And I would never have cancelled a training session. I would have always organised whatever it was around school football. And that way the girls always knew where I stood. They knew training was going to be on. It was never going to be cancelled unless something massive happened, and therefore then I got the same back from them and I committed. So if you want to make it happen, you'll make it happen. You find the 3 or 4 or 5 hours a week, whatever it is. Now, saying that, people think that coaching is just 1 hour or an hour and a half. The time that you spend planning sessions and talking about it in the house and thinking about it, it takes over your whole life. But if you love it and if you have such a passion for it, you'll do it. You wouldn't do it otherwise.
Yeah, it shines through in you, absolutely, Kieran. Always has and always will, please God. John, back to yourself. The duck is gone, is it?
Yeah, I'd love to come in at that point there, what you said about
Go.
And the kids, because as you know, we have 4. The little lad is 12, under 12s, the little one is under 14, the one is under 16s, and then Ciara is under minors. She's also the junior A and junior C, and Marta is on junior C as well. So Monday in our club is you leave here at 4 o'clock because we travel 15 miles. Our training session is in Letterfrack. I travel 15 miles and 15 miles back. But anyway, so I have number 12s as the first one. They start at 5 o'clock to 6:30 with the under 10s. And she'll drop me off first and then she'll go back into Clifton. This is the missus now, I should say. And she'll go back into Clifton and she'll throw Sean off. And then she'll bring Martin over to Cladderduff, because they can't fit us all. And then she'll come back from me, and then as soon as I'm coming off, she has Ciara there, and Ciara is left there with Paul Gannon, and then hopefully somebody will bring her back as well. Then she'll travel back in and she'll pick Marta on the way back up, and then she'll go back into Clifton, and the trainer usually has Sean gone to his house and he's fed. He always feeds him. So that's the Monday. And then the Tuesday then is the 2 seniors. The 2 of them will go out for the seniors game, which takes 2 hours in Letterfrack, or it might be Cladderduff. And then Wednesday is nearly a break day. And then Thursday then it's all over again, the exact same thing again, the under 12s, 10s. And then Friday, she has which is today, we have to go to one was gone playing music, and she's dropping in at the Letterfrack on the way back. Actually, she's not today because they met up yesterday because of the county final Sunday, but she'd have dropped into Letterfrack on the way back and did her training there, and we go out and pick her up as well. So that's it then, and then Saturday then you're off at the clubs traveling around the country. So it's, I'm going to say 100%. It's hardly even time for a drop into the fresh stuff, he says.
I come here. Are you in a petrol or diesel car?
Well, in the diesel. Thanks be to God.
It's a phenomenal commitment. Not just from players, but from the likes of yourselves and the time and the effort that you put in, John. But I know, what does ladies football mean to you, John? Because I know it's ingrained in you.
It is. It's life. It is the main feature in our life. And I let no one kid you. Even though we do other sports, and I'm going to say when you said about the duck, that's duck hunting as well is a big thing. That's what we use the phones for and things like that. Okay. But I also have young lad, and he's a tremendous clip. He does a lot of clay shooting. And my father was a tremendous clay shooter. They won the kind of champion one time, or the Mercian. So he's found out all the steps as well. It comes in, it's a big thing, but football is nothing. It is just amazing in this house. Everything they wear is football, except when they're really going out. As simple as that. It's the wash machine. It's football. Everything is football. The yard is full of footballs. Their boots, Christmas presents, anything they want is the new football. Actually, they're looking for the new leather footballs, which are costly at the moment. They're going back to the old style. I've noticed that too, that they're fed up with the slip-on soccer ones. They want to go back to the old ones. So that's a big thing we have to look at. And it's costly, but it's just life. It's,
magic.
And without it, football keeps the kids and ourselves out of the other, the drug scene and all that kind of stuff, or hanging around the corners or things like that, And it's very important. I mean, they haven't time to even think about it, straight
Yeah,
home.
it's a very important social outlet, I have to say.
Very social part of society like
Yeah.
that. There's more than that too. You know, you meet everybody. You're saying, as Ciara says, you meet everybody, and you know, our under 12 final that we won, that we were not supposed to win because we played Castle in the final, and they had literally beat us extremely well about 10 weeks before that. Okay, kids can a goal in the kid. If a kid gets a goal and on the 12s, as you know, it can go and either way is underage, and we did. But I mean, the support that we got from the community. I mean, the fire brigade came out. We went twice around the town. Now we didn't stop in the town, you know. And then the next day, the next couple of days, then we got a phone call. The local hotel here, he put on food, and we brought it out to training on the Monday, and we put them in groups of 6 all over the field, and the 10s joined us. We had a massive party. We had it just, you know, out of a little, you know, thing, and the management and stuff. We went back to the hotel as well for the little socialise, and it was just amazing. It was like winning another and like winning another All Ireland. Like I said, like winning this again all over again. It meant so much to the community and to ourselves, you know.
Yeah, it's crucial. It's absolutely crucial. Brilliantly said, John. Ciara Lane, if anybody is thinking about nominating somebody for one of these awards, what would you say to them? Because obviously we have 10 categories in our LGFA Volunteer of the Year Awards. You're our International Volunteer 2019. Don't hesitate, I guess, is the question. If you know somebody that's doing some terrific work on behalf of the LGFA, just get their name down on paper, yeah?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that, you know, everyone gets busy, right, in their lives and stuff like that, and you fall into the routine of going to training, and you know, I think often, you know, if you're in the middle of all of that, it's hard sometimes to take a little bit of a step back and look at all the people that are doing the organising and kind of keeping keeping things going, and you know, like the likes of Ciara, you know, taking kids along to training and stuff like that. Like, that's incredible. And I think, like, you know, just taking that few minutes to think about, you know, if there is somebody in your club or in your community that's, you know, is going above and beyond and would never ask for the recognition or never even feel that they deserve it, but do, because I know, same as Ciara, like when I got the email to say that I had even been nominated for something, like I was completely floored. Like I had no inclination that was coming at all. So, but to be even nominated, like it means an awful lot to you. And I think that if you do see somebody that's you know, going above and beyond, and you think that really deserves it in whatever category, right? Like, take the time, take the few minutes out of your day to do that nomination form, because that's what the girls did for me here, and I'm so grateful that they did that and gave me the experience to be able to kind of travel over and be part of that, because it's a lifetime memory, right? It's for not just me, but for my family that were able to be a part of it as well. So yeah, and then we also got our club jerseys from the LGFA as part of the prize package, so they're on the way. So it's kind of this legacy piece then that you leave with the club, which is really nice. So yeah, amazing. Absolutely.
It was great to have you over, Ciara. It's a lovely way to finish, folks. Just get those nominations in for the LGFA Volunteer of the Year Awards 2020. The link is underneath this post, whether you're on Facebook, Twitter or Instagram. And John Mack, of course, a noted photographer. Come on, Jack, take a quick snap of the screen before we...
And I just want to say that PJ Fahy has presented us with all the new equipment, so watch out and keep smiling this year. PJ Fahy, unbelievable. As you know, he was the manager of the Galway in 2004. So as you know, my other camera she was playing up on us. So he supplied us with a new camera. The amount of stuff he's got for us is unbelievable. And the new 600 lens.
Looks good.
And stuff, yeah. So we'll be there to, you know, just keep smiling.
Good, okay. So there's a new camera and a duck is coming your way, coming to a pitch near you real soon.
That's for certain.
Folks, great fun, really enjoyed it. Ciara Lane, stay safe and stay well. Calgary in Canada, Ciara Marley, St. Catherine's Armagh, and John McDermott, PRO of the Galway Ladies Board. Folks, great to have you on this evening. Thanks for taking the time.
Thanks, Jackie.
Thanks very much, Jackie.